Hey, so I'm here today with Gary L Cox Jr. Now, Gary, you're part of the DX Squad, which is a great group of guys who are helping out other developers on the Devexpress forums. But you've also got, a little side project you've been working on. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, the project is Endurance Diary, and what we're doing is my buddy and I we like to go riding, cyclists, and we got some other friends that are joggers, triathletes, that sort of thing, and we were using sites that were public and free, and they just didn't really do everything that we were looking for, and so we started throwing some ideas around, and we decided to come up with our own site, and this is the product that we came up with, and it's free to the public. So it's just an open site. You go in there and you can log your workouts, track certain events, that type of thing.
Well, that's awesome. Now, I love anything where, you have a necessity and, you go ahead and just create something that, and plus it's free. And I really like that aspect of it. Now, let's start from the beginning, right? So you guys decided to create this website, right?
Right.
What platform did you end up choosing, first of all?
We ended up going with Visual Studio 2010, using the .NET 4.0, and SQL Server 2008 for the database.
Got you. Now, is this a web form site or an MVC site?
This is running ASP.NET MVC 3.
Oh,
Um,
really?
yeah.
Wow. Now, what made you guys choose MVC?
Well, standard web forms. I mean, it's uh, it's not as cool, I don't think, as MVC. Uh, I don't know if you ever coded MVC, but it's so much more pleasant than using standard web forms.
Now, for MVC, right? When you say cooler, what did you mean by that? Do you mean like, do you like its routing? Do you like its, non-view state? Do you just like the pattern?
Yeah, the routing was probably the most, the key factor there is. I love how it doesn't display the .aspx, and you can just route it to any route controller that you come up with. It handles plugging in partials, which are user controls, very easily. I don't have to worry about all the whole page load, page initial, all the data binding. I just basically build my controller, link it to a model, and then just render a view, passing it the model through the controller.
Awesome. So let's just dive right into this site then, and talk a little bit about some of its features, right? So what were some of the first things that you knew you definitely wanted on this website?
Well, the first thing we knew is it had to be social. It had to allow you to see people's workouts without being a member, so you don't require a login. And it had to track your GPS coordinates so that we could render them on a map. And it had to be extendable so that we could continue to grow it, as well as open up an API for other developers to write smartphone apps.
Wow, no, that sounds like an aggressive and definitely fun project. So what were the first things that you targeted, right? What was it the hey, we gotta have a basic way to just keep track of a workout?
Yeah, so the first thing was let's get the workouts in there, and so we started building templates for the different types of workouts, which was another perfect idea for MVC, is because it's basically each view is considered a template. It made it very easy to extend different workout types. A perfect example is just 2 nights ago, I was able to throw in a gym template which supported P90X, console, game, fitness apps, all that in just one night because of how easy it was to get the templates going. So once we got the workouts all set up, the next phase was to get some sort of basic skeleton of a event page where you could create events, and then people could subscribe to those events, such as let's say there was a bike race or something going on at a bike shop. So a bike shop could create an account, generate the event, and then anyone can go in and subscribe to this event. They don't actually have to be friends to this bike shop. And then the next piece we added was friends. How do you make this social so that you could share your workouts with other people? And as you can see here, I have my profile, which we're calling a diary, and then I have all my friends here who have logged their workouts, and this is basically a feed. So I'm seeing all of their workouts on my diary page, or I could just go and say I want to see just my stuff, and that'll just render my stuff. So
Awesome. Now, is there also any, so there's the social aspect of it, right? Is there some type of goals aspect to this as well?
yes, there is goals that are coming, and there's, like I said, this is basically a beta, a skeleton of what's to come. There's so much more that we have in the in the roadmap here to add, such as goals, challenges, all these different aspects. We want to have a training scheduler so you can schedule your whole month or 6 months worth of training schedules and be able to move them around to fit your needs.
Talk to me a little bit about this whole diary aspect of working out, right? Where does this come from? Is it just that, whenever you work out, a diary helps you get to those events better? Because I like what you have here, right? So you have this quick write and how you felt during the workout and so forth. I mean, how does that help you? Why keep track of that?
Well, the point of the diary is eventually this thing's going to start pinging you, and people can start giving you some motivation. The whole point of it was basically I'm a lazy workout kind of guy. I'll start something. I'll go to the gym for maybe a month or so, and I'm done. I give up on it.
Right.
And the point of this was to kind of push me. I can see my friends are working out, but I'm not showing on my board, and so I need to get out there and work out so that I'm not left out in the cold here while everyone else has all these workouts. And
I got you. Now, about that social aspect, right? I like what you got there, and I see there's comments. So, can anybody leave anybody a comment, or are you going to restrict to just, let's say, friends and so forth?
now comments are open to everybody that has a login. It has to know who's putting the comment, but you don't have to be a friend. You could just go in there and throw a comment in there. You can see here that there's quite a few in here that people are posting, um, throughout different deals. And you could click on the pictures and go to that person's diary, and you can see here on the right it changed. It shows that uh, this particular member has ridden 50 miles, jogged 167 miles, and swam 0.37.
Wow, nice.
So this would be a triathlete.
Now, what about the GPS aspect of it? And how does that fit into this?
Okay, so the GPS side is once you open a workout. Let me pull one of mine up. This is one I wrote on Saturday.
By the way, for those people not familiar, that's Gary right there, right?
That is me, yes.
That handsome guy right there with the Endurance Diary t-shirt.
Let me try to zoom this in a little bit for you so you can see better. So what you have here is your basic information. When I started, and again, this is all pulled from my GPS device. I didn't hand type this. So I started my workout at 11:13, and I took off for a ride. And it says I had 57 minutes of moving time, and the total time was an hour. So I must have stopped, and the GPS paused for a second or so. Uh, how many calories I burned, my average speed, the max speed that I rode, cadence for those who cycle. They know that's the repetitions that your crank is going. And then here you start talking about, how did you feel, any elevation, gains and losses, what the weather was like, and my heart rate. I wasn't wearing a heart monitor at the time, so it didn't record anything. And then you go into your route. So here you can see where I started. It has a little green play button, and this is where I stopped. And so it basically drew the route off the GPS from my device, of where I rode my bike. And then
Wow.
towards the bottom, people could also add more comments, which would show on your diary as well. Uh, you can see here, this says no data. This is actually coming from the Google Maps. Let me pull a ride, and you can see what this will do. I think Arts has something. Yeah, here we go. So I got to zoom it down a little bit. So what this is an elevation chart, and it goes from left to right. So I can hover my mouse over this, and it'll kind of rerun the route, showing you what the elevation was like as you were riding this route. So right here, it would say he was going downhill, and then he started going up a hill again.
Oh, nice.
And
That's really impressive. Google Maps gives that to you automatically based on some GPS info that you give it?
yeah, it's part of their services, the elevation service, and then you just basically tell it what kind of icon you want it to render. And so we built it to understand that if this is a bike cycling ride, then put a little man of a bike. If it's a run, then it has a little guy running.
But Gary, now I have an important question here. Why are all the street names after some kind of a tea? You got Ceylon tea, Darjeeling.
It's an odd thing. That's some new neighborhood that popped up, and every name is T. I'm not sure.
Awesome, awesome. So, talk to me from a developer's perspective. How do you get this data to your website from your GPS device?
Okay, so there's many ways you can do it. You can come in and import the workout from a device. Okay.
Does your GPS device pump out some kind of file and then you simply upload it?
Yeah, the current settings right now is if you have like I have the Garmin E500. So Garmin puts out a communicator that you can put in. It's a plug-in that goes into your site, and it can feed this information right off the device from the computer. But in my case, the E500 does not. It's not supported by the Garmin communicator because it has these .fit files, which is an ANT plus format. It's a file format. So for me, I have to upload my workout to Garmin, and then I can export from Garmin to a Garmin TCX file, which is something that I can import from the site. So I have a Twitter account that's authorized in my settings, which I can show you after I close this here. But basically, you get authorization to use Twitter through Endurance Diary. Once you have that, this little guy will show up, and this is where you can create a workout. So I can call it my test workout and select a file, and it could be a TCX or a GPX file, and then I would import it, and that's how I got the data into my site, into my diary.
Oh, I got you. Very nice. Now let's talk about the actual MVC website. I understand you're using some Devexpress MVC extensions in there. Can you talk a little bit about where and how you're using them?
Sure. The site's using DevExpress on several screens actually. So as you can see here, you got the menu bar,
Hmm.
and this here is the DevExpress extension to the menu extension. The feed itself, you can't really tell, but it's a DevExpress grid.
Oh, interesting. I like how you set that up. It's so you're using the template of it.
It's a template. Yeah, it's a grid that feeds different templates, and the reason that it's using a template is because the feed can show more than just workouts. It also has, if I wrote a blog would show in here. Eventually, we want to add video and notes, different things. Events. If you had an event, it would show on the same feed. And so the purpose of using the grid that extracts from different templates really helped out a lot with getting this kind of stuff moving. So here we have an event. So you have a workout template, and then it found an event, so it loaded the event. And then embedded inside of the main feed grid, we have the comment grid, which shows so you can add comments. And basically, I'm just using jQuery to hide and show this grid with a Devexpress memo and then the button, of course. Devexpress buttons. Some other things we're using is up here on the notifications. There's a callback panel,
Oh,
which
nice.
which is every 3 minutes going and basically just checking, hey, is there any friend requests for you? And other areas are here in the leaderboard. So if I want to see, who's the leader from the past month that it's a cyclist, it's using a DevExpress callback to go back and pull this information for me, uh,
Wow.
so I don't have to do a full page reload. The profile is also using DevExpress. We're using the tabs. We're using the upload control, um, the buttons, and of course in the blog, which this is very, very skeleton, but in the blog, we're using some DevExpress. That I'm sure people are familiar with seeing this one. So
So now let me ask, what was the experience like of using the DevExpress MVC extensions? Was this your first time working with them?
Yeah, this whole MVC project was actually my first time working with MVC, so it was quite a challenge. It's you're going from being a web forms developer to doing something completely outside of your realm. So it took some time to figure out how different things talk to each other and how to get them loading. But once I got past all those hurdles, I mean now it's just plug this in, plug that in, let's go.
Excellent, excellent. And what are you expecting in the future for this website? Do you want to keep maintain it and keep it free as a, hey, people who are out there to do the goals, or do you feel like maybe there'll be a pro version in the future?
The goal is to keep it free. I mean, we want to keep this thing out there for people to use. We're going to keep maintaining it. We're going to keep adding new features to it. I mean, it seems like every day we have something new coming out, but it doesn't get pushed, so people don't really see the new stuff. But at least once a week, we're pushing some new update and then talking about it on Twitter.
Now, one last thing. What is your favorite MVC DevExpress extension so far?
So far, it's the grid. It really saves me a lot of time. Secondary to that would be that callback panel because it saves so much more time than having to do a full page reload and going and getting all this information.
Nice. And so the website is endurancediary.com. Is there a Twitter account for this website? Or
The Twitter account is also Endurance Diary.
and what about yourself? How can people get a hold of you? Do you have a blog or a Twitter
Yeah,
email that you'd like to put out there?
yeah. I have a blog. It's kind of dying out there. I don't have time to work on it, but on Twitter I'm pretty active. It's Gary L Cox Jr. Is my Twitter handle,
Can you bring
and
that up on a separate tab, please, so people can see it?
sure. And then of course people always can see me on Devexpress forums.
Yeah, you're always helping out. That's it's a very nice thing that you're doing. Excellent. And there's a link to your website as well, GaryLCoxJr.com.
That's correct. That's at blogspot.com.
Oh, okay, excellent, excellent.
And
Well,
then
Gary, thank you very much. This is a really interesting site. I'm gonna go sign up right now, even though I'm not much of a workout guy, but I think you've inspired me to get on a bike or something.
hey,
And
awesome. Get out there and work out. Get
I take the stairs up in the office every day, so I'm gonna start recording those on there.
There you go. You can track it. Later on, we're going to have some reports, and you can run and see how much faster you're getting up those stairs.
Thank you very much, Gary.
All right. Thank you.